Welcome to the Illinois Physical Therapy Association's Assembly of Representatives Education Module, titled Parliamentary Procedures. The objectives of this education module are to talk about Robert's Rules of Order in a very wide overview and why the Assembly of Representatives uses this parliamentative authority. And then within the parliamentary procedure overview, just to address quorum, motions, and voting. The Assembly uses parliamentary procedure to conduct its business. This actually helps create the structure needed to allow everybody who has an opinion and everyone who has a voice, whether it's for or against a motion or idea, to have the opportunity to speak and be heard. The Assembly uses the current version of Robert's Rules of Order, which is actually the 11th edition. Ultimately, when it comes to a democratic professional society, it's the majority of representatives in the Assembly who decide the general will, but only following the opportunity for a deliberative process of free and full discussion. So the idea is that a vote follows a debate, and that deliberative process should be full, free, and balanced between those that are for and against. So Robert's Rules of Order is actually not concerned with the wisdom of a specific decision, again, whether the Assembly is making the right choice to go for a motion or to go against a motion. But Robert's Rules of Order is actually about the process by which the group arrives at the decision. And again, the process is with the belief that fair and equitable debate and processes are more likely to result in wise decisions. So, representatives get to hear both why a motion may be good for the association or not good for the association before they actually get the opportunity to vote. You do not have to have Robert's Rules of Order book to actually understand parliamentary procedure. It is not a prerequisite for being a representative, but if you are interested, there are some other resources that are out there that you can find on the internet. And then also we have at the Assembly what's called the ABCs of Parliamentary Procedure. It's a brief pamphlet that actually does a great job of describing an overview of Robert's Rules of Order, and it serves as a great quick reference. Also, remember, as a representative, you are part of a district, the student special interest group, and you should have people around you that have some experience in the Assembly or with parliamentary rules. So hopefully in the process of the Assembly, if you have any questions, you might be able to ask whoever's sitting right next to you. But if you do get lost within the debate and the direction that the Assembly is going, please get the attention of the Vice President, who is our Vice Speaker of the Assembly, or the Speaker, and they will answer your question. Also, just remember, if you do want to see a motion kind of go a certain way, you can ask questions of the parliamentarian, and you can try to find a way to use parliamentary procedure to actually get the motion to go the way that you want it to go, which may be, for example, stopping the debate on the motion in order to vote on it, tabling the discussion, tabling the motion to another time, or referring it to a committee or the board of directors so that they can work on it and bring it back at a later date. Well, when it comes to the business of the Assembly, we have to have a quorum in order to legally conduct the business. And a quorum is actually a number or percentage of members that must be present to conduct the business. Our quorum is set by the IPTA bylaws, and it states representatives representing 1/2 of the districts and numbering 1/2 of the total number of votes, which could be cast if all representatives from all districts were present, shall constitute a quorum. Now, it's actually the role of the secretary to determine that a quorum is present through the credentialing process. If a quorum is not present, it will be announced, and then the Assembly can decide if they want to proceed with non-business activities or if they would like to adjourn the meeting. The business part of the meeting for our assembly is actually done through a motion. Motions are actually what get our discussion going, and it's a formal proposal by any IPTA member. That could be from a voting or non-voting member of the assembly. It can be from a committee. It could be from a task force, the board of directors. It just be somebody who is an IPTA member who has an idea and they want to bring it to the assembly for discussion and then for voting. Now, it does have to have a second, and if the motion is coming from 2 or more members, then it doesn't need a second because there's already assumed within that group somebody would second the motion. Now, before a subject can be considered, it must be placed before the assembly in the form of a motion unless the representatives would like to temporarily suspend the rules. And so if you have questions about temporarily suspending the rules of the assembly, please talk to the speaker and see how that can be done. Once a motion is made and seconded, it actually belongs to the assembly and no longer to the maker of the motion. And it's the representatives who debate it and can change it and make it whatever they want it to be. And so it becomes their property and not the property of the maker anymore. Once a motion then is seconded, debate will begin with the maker of the motion giving their support statement. The support statement includes the rationale as to why the maker thinks that this is important, why they think it's good for the association, and why they feel that people should vote for it. Then we enter into debate, and it's the speaker's job to make the debate as equal as possible between those who are speaking in favor of the motion and those who are speaking against the motion. So if you are in the queue to speak to the motion, but someone else is called to speak before you, it may be because the speaker is trying to balance the debate. Once the debate is finished, then the speaker will ask if the representatives are ready to vote. Voting is conducted usually by a voice vote, sometimes by standing, and sometimes by standing and counting off. But either way, representatives will be asked to vote in the affirmative by saying yes or aye, or saying voting against by saying no or nay, or they can actually abstain. A lot of times the speaker won't ask for who's abstaining, especially if the majority is very easy to determine. But if it's super close, the speaker may ask for those who abstain to actually make their voice known so that can be recorded. Within parliamentary procedure, there are what we call ranking of motions, and there's a chart on the presentation that has the motions listed in order of importance. And at the bottom of the list is actually what we start with, which is the main motion. So there are a lot of motions that actually take precedence over the main motion. And that could be doing things to the motion, like amending it, referring it, tabling it, calling the question, which would stop debate and bring the vote about. Even there's motions for taking a recess, and then adjourning. Those are even higher motions than the main motion. So again, if you have any questions about what you would like to do with a motion, then please speak to the speaker or ask a question during the assembly so that you can get an answer to your question and possibly a strategy of how to move the motion where you would like it to go or to make our meeting more efficient. Now, that was a very brief overview of parliamentary procedure, but it will be enough to get you through what you need to know for the day of the assembly. But always remember, there is Parliamentary Procedure 911, and that means help, and there are people to help you. Contact the Speaker of the Assembly, contact the Reference Committee, contact IPTA staff with any questions that you may have about parliamentary procedure, how to handle motions, how to vote, and etc. So again, I want to thank you for serving as a representative to the Assembly, our highest decision-making body within the IPTA. Your service is greatly appreciated. Thank you.